And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson, 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. And today we are going to be sharing our best bets for college football and the NFL. Also talking a little bit about the college football playoff, as there has been some insight delivered on how the seeding, the matchups are going to be, with the first reveal coming up on Tuesday. Before we get to that, though, Sean, where can folks, if they want to make some money, if they want to follow along with us, where can they go and make their bets?
Oh, that would be Bet Online. We're going to be giving out all the bets today with Bet Online lines. Joe, while I'm telling them about the great sponsor, why don't you take a little peep at the lifestyle section, prepare your defense for at the end of the show. Regardless, basketball fans, I know it's getting kicked off. Everybody likes seeing the great ball movement that happens in early season basketball. We know by January, it's just going to be chucking threes. But right now, you can take some nice unders. You could take some nice team spreads. They're still favorable, and all the star players are still kind of playing. Joel Embiid, we need you. But BetOnline has you covered with all the odds. They got every stat, every matchup breakdown, and live odds if you want to snipe a line. That's what I love to do when I'm watching basketball. It's a game of runs. It's the most fun way to bet basketball, in my opinion. And it's not just the NBA. We got MLB playoffs with the Yankees appearing to try to extend, not going to jinx them, their World Series hopes. NHL, political props. Head to the website today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online, the game starts here.
All right, Sean, college football, the playoff. We're getting our first rankings reveal from the committee this upcoming week, and it was revealed. There's been a little bit more information sprinkling in and in. I don't know why I said in and in. More information has been coming in for this first-time 12-team expanded playoff. And one of the things that was highly discussed and debated was whether or not there were going to be rematches, whether or not there was going to be an intention to avoid said rematches when the playoff field was announced. One of the executive director spoke with On3, and he provided context on this. Here's the full quote that I pulled from Bleacher Report, also comes from On3. We're not going to sort of manipulate how the bracket gets laid out or the seeding. We're not going to manipulate that to avoid rematches. They happen naturally. They just happen. I imagine we're going to see some of that in this playoff. You could see teams play each other 3 times that might play each other. They might play each other in the regular season. They might play each other in conference championships, and then they see each other somewhere in the playoff. So it could happen, but we're not going to change the seeding to avoid those rematches. I'm actually glad that this context comes out early before the first rankings reveal, and that this context is how they're going to approach it. Because frankly, it seemed like it was such a pretzel that was so unnecessary, a layer that was pushed into this that did not need to be brought into complicating what's already a complex process for picking the best 12 teams in the country. If you pick those teams, then you're playing musical chairs to determine who goes where in order to avoid rematches. Then you can't predictably avoid the next round rematch if somebody wins or somebody loses. It's just too much extra work, and I think that the focus needs to be on the committee making the right decisions of putting these teams where they belong based on their credibility. So I'm glad that this is being told to us, that this is how they're going to go about it.
You and I generally disagree on a lot of the administrative college football things. Me being, I'd say, the common man for the fans, and you being the big 40-team bootlicker, not meaning in a hurtful way, but just how it is. I love this. I love the statement that they're saying we're not going to mess with the rankings. If you really want the best football, you're going to have the best football teams play each other. I love the possible buildup of seeing teams play each other 3 times. Let's take a look at the NFL, Joe. If you're a fan of the NFL teams, what do you like to see most? Your teams beat your rivals, and especially in division. You want to see the Giants beat the Eagles twice, and if they both make the postseason, you want to see them beat them again also. This sets up for great theater. This is, I think, exactly what they're looking for if they want to clamp down on the expansion and make it a 40-teamer, I think leaving in the natural rematches is so tantalizing. It gives you so many opportunities, and I can't wait to see the 5 to 7 minute production reels leading into the game. They're going to be immaculate. You're going to have the narration. You're going to have what happened in game 1, what happens in the rematch. Now they're meeting in the CFP with Chris Fowler yelling at you. It's great. It's going to be a fantastic experience. And most importantly, you're not leaving yourself up to scrutiny if you're making this decision. It's the easiest way to cover your ass from angry fans that are already going to feel like they're slighted if they miss out on the 12-teamer. But if you are messing with seedings just because you don't want rematches and just because the TV overlords or whatever it is, I guarantee you fans aren't going to get tired of it. I guarantee you it'll be the most entertaining product, and it'll be the safest way to go about managing the expanded CFP.
I also would argue you miss out on potential narratives and exciting theater that could be created for these matchups if you deliberately try to avoid said rematches. And you caught my attention when you said right there that, you know, the production reels that roll into the games that could talk about what happened in the previous matchups. And there's going to be possibly enough to have changed since those previous rematches to build up the drama. Like, I don't really care for a storyline. There's no storyline to be built if Iowa State plays Ohio State and Iowa State had the 4 seed. Oh, yeah, they're real pissed off at the Cyclones, I'm sure. But if we get the possibility for an Oregon-Ohio State triple battle, 3-stage battle, not only is it going to create compelling fights, also, I would argue, we're going to know that we're going to get a competitive matchup if the previous matchups were close. And then the last bit of this, we think back to the history of the sport of football, the NFL, as you mentioned, remembering the rivalries that were created by teams playing multiple times in short periods. That's what ultimately, at the end of the day, makes things the most exciting. So for anyone who wants to complain about this and be like, I don't want to have to watch Texas play Georgia 3 times or 2 times.
Don't watch the sport then. You're not a real fan, because it is.
I would love to see them square off 3 times if they're all 3 competitive. I just want good football. That's the focus. Good football.
Yeah, the fun stuff happens, and it has been happening from week 4 to week 10. That's what all the goofy stuff, the missed PATs, all the anger. And then when we actually start getting to nut cutting time, I want to see these teams really facing off. And you hit it on the head. It's Oregon, Ohio State that they're talking about, and it's Texas, Georgia that they're talking about. Are you kidding me? What kind of theater are we looking at with those 4 powerhouses that are likely going to have to meet in the Big Ten championship, that are likely going to have to meet in the SEC championship, that are likely going to have to meet up somewhere later down the line in the 12-teamer once they roll past whatever scales they put in at 10 to 12? It's going to be phenomenal. I won't get tired of seeing the same teams play in the CFP. The only time I'll get tired if it's a general restriction to equal share of playing time or games shown throughout the regular season in a mega conference. But this is perfect. I think they are knocking the first CFP out of the park. I pray to God they leave the G5 excitement in, because tracking that has been a sneaky great storyline for this season. It was JMU, now is Boise State rolling, and now we got the military schools that have been making buzz all year also. So this first rendition of the 12-teamer, it makes you think what the hell they were thinking about after 4 years of the 4-team. Like, we weren't going to do this a little sooner. We couldn't crack this thing open. And I'll give them credit for bumping it up another 2 years, because we were supposed to get it in 2026. They said, screw that. This is the best idea that we could have for college football. And you and me having the FCS background, seeing a 24-team playoff, that's stellar. But if we're doing it legit, I think the 12 is the way to go.
Yeah, we're going to have plenty to talk about. It's exciting that the first ranking will be revealed. That is coming out this coming Tuesday. Certainly nothing else results, anything important coming this Tuesday. That's not important. Who are you voting for, by the way?
You're a sicko.
All right, let's talk about more important stuff here. Far more important things to talk about. Betting, gambling. Here's our betting picks for college football that we have got for you. It was a bad week for me. I'm still above 500. We are currently tied. I don't know how Sean went 2-1. He went 2-1. He's 17-16, 52%. I am 17-16, 52% with my 1-2 week. Of course, ULM Monroe. You know what? By the way, I have to say this, and I was talking to no. Hold on one second. I needed just the concept and the verse of analysis on sports betting. I hate it, and I told you, and I made fun of you for buying into the against the spread numbers and how the plus minus of it, and how often and by how many points they beat the spread or lose to the spread, whatever it is. I played into that way too hard last week, and I got freaking burned. I'm done with it. I'm going ball analysis. Who's squaring up? Who's punching each other in the mouth? Who's playing freaking football? No more of this crap. No more of these numbers. Numbers are for losers. And I went 1-2. I was riding high because I was an all-time vibes play, and we're going back to it. So
this is why the stratagem failed, because you bailed out on it too early. I really think if you continue it, maybe you can knock that stratagem out, but you're already ditching a good and tried and true method. And we discussed the fallacy of against the spread for the dopes and the rubes that just lean all the way into it. But it isn't a number that you can totally ignore. And that's something that I would like to know. You have to accept that some teams do win by that margin against all the other teams. And when the pattern shakes out, the pattern shakes out. I'm going to respect that. I'm also going to respect myself having a baller ass 2-1 week. Mister, I couldn't imagine having a 5 in front of my percentage picks. Hey, now we're locked up heading into the home stretch. This is going to be a fun one.
Be fine.
Yeah,
we're back on track. All right, Sean, my first pick that I'm taking this week is Kentucky plus 16.5 versus Tennessee. Look, plain and simple, the SEC this year has proven to us that the margins between good and bad teams is extremely close. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think that Tennessee is going to lose this football game. But 16.5 is a lot of points for that team to cover that has been highly inconsistent. More importantly, when going up against good defensive lines and even average defensive lines like they went against Arkansas, they've given up pressures to Nico. I've had a ton of betting success on my VSiN picks, on VIX picks on the show by taking dogs that are supposed to lose by more than 3 scores. So I'm sticking with Kentucky here. Give me them to cover. I just need them to lose by 2 touchdowns, and we're there.
I love the vibes play of Kentucky, but they're on a 3-game losing streak. I'm going to throw out the Vandy nonsense. They gave up 48 points to Florida. That's not great. I really don't love that, but as much as I don't love that, I don't love what I've been seeing from Tennessee lately. Not tragic. I can't believe you didn't take my first pick here. Indiana giving 7.5 versus Michigan State. I'll admit,
still backup quarterback in, so I'm iffy on this one.
I hate the hook. 7.5. I really don't like it. But the dude Cignetti doesn't lose. Michigan State loses. Jonathan Smith, slow starter. Indiana, balanced offense, can run the rock. And they're 7-1 against the spread just to boot. Just to throw that in. It's nice. It's a good bet. Indiana's rolling. I'm buying the hype train. Oh, Sean, it's trappy. How could it keep going? Michigan State is at Michigan State. I'm not worried about Michigan State. Look at some of the Michigan State home turnout games that we've seen. They're going to be showing up just because they want to watch Indiana, not because they want to watch Michigan State make it competitive. They want to see the greatest show on turf in college football for 2024, and they're going to see it. I love Indiana. Again, 7.5. Don't love the hook, but I'll take it.
I was double checking that wasn't one of my VSiN picks this week. My only pause on this is, yes, they're a covering machine. They've got the good record against the spread. Not doing it. Taven Jackson, backup quarterback, still in, so anything can happen. There's a good chance that they win by more than 7. I'm not in love, though, with the situation and the possibility of percentage of this thing swinging in either direction. My next pick, Texas A&M, minus 2.5 versus South Carolina. I understand that this could play into being an upset situation for South Carolina at home at night. However, South Carolina has the worst offensive line in the country statistically. They're giving up pressures. They can't run the ball. They're averaging a terrible yards per carry clip. That Texas A&M front dominated the bad Missouri offensive line and had success against the best offensive line in the country for LSU. that front seven is going to have a field day. What's going to make this a little tricky is depending on how Marcel Reed plays and if Le'Veon Moss, that duo, can get things going on the ground, because we know that South Carolina's front seven is really good, and they also play the run very well. But I'm banking on team with the worst offensive line getting their asses kicked. The games that they've played close in, they've gone up against teams that don't have natural front seven pressure generation and require a little bit of scheming. And also the Alabama game, they caught them when they were distracted, and that they've been on this rough patch skid that they were going through. So give me Texas A&M here minus 2.5.
Okay. It's fine. It's vibes. Texas A&M just had a huge win.
No vibes.
You gotta. The South Carolina team, I'm not taking them in any games for the rest of the year. They run the rock. They have insane pass rushers and backup quarterback, 2-quarterback system for Texas A&M. Okay. All right. I got you. All right. I don't know where you stand with South Carolina at this point in the season either. You've seemed to be flip-flopping a little bit with your admiration.
No, I still don't know. I still don't like them.
So okay.
I'm betting against them.
Gotcha. My second pick, team that I'm growing to like throughout this season, that's Oregon. Given 14.5 versus Michigan, another very naughty hook on the end of it.
I don't like that use of that word.
I like this Oregon team. They are a wagon. Their defense has only given up 9 points in the last 2 games. I'm not going to transitive property
you
this.
Picked all weird lines this week.
Yeah, they're weird lines right now. I don't like transitive property, especially in betting. But this Michigan team lost to Illinois, and Oregon smoked the hell out of Illinois. It's a different class of team in the Big Ten. Michigan doesn't have the offense. I don't care about the dogs that they have on the defensive line. Oregon has a great offensive line. Oregon's defense is filled with studs. It wouldn't make sense. Nobody could convince me of Michigan covering the 14.5. Like, I don't see a rationale of somebody pitching me, oh, Michigan's going to get their get back, or Michigan's going to find their stride at the end of the season. They're just getting teach tape. They're getting tape for next year. They're getting tape for the draft. That's what it is. They're done for. They're cooked. Oregon has something to play for, which I especially love in late season games. Style points matter. I love Oregon blowing out Michigan.
I was told I can't just say bad pick, but here's a more elaborate way of saying it. On the road at Ann Arbor, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. My last one, Penn State, plus 3.5 against Ohio State. This is my risky pick of the week. This one, I was afraid to get. Actually, you know what? I'm changing my mind. What do you mean? No.
We got it concrete right now, brother.
No. The words didn't come out of my mouth. This was one of my betting picks, and then I reminded myself that if Prabula starts for Penn State, I'm not willing to do it. If Allard starts, I am willing to take Penn State to cover any line that they're given. I think that they win if you're willing to take a money line. That's not one of the picks I'm giving out. That's not.
What are we doing? A show in Venice Beach where anybody can do whatever the hell they want?
When have we ever said that it has to be written down in the minute that it's written out in the document?
Penn State. This is
no. I changed my. But
I'm living in a crazy world right now.
No, you're not. This is normal. I do a show with Blake where he changes his mind every 10 minutes for a game.
He's a flip-flopper. That's fine. He doesn't have the integrity.
If it's written out on the doc, it can be changed as long as I can't. If I had tried to change it at the end of the show, then that would have been egregious. But I'm not doing that. I'm changing mid-sentence. I am going to go with Nebraska to cover minus 6.5 versus UCLA. I do not think that this UCLA team is very good. I understand that Nebraska has been a little bit slow and a little bit sloppy the past few weeks offensively, but they played very competitively against Ohio State, and I think that reminded us that they can fight and be one of the top half teams in the conference, while UCLA is a bottom feeder. I think that offense gets back on track against a pretty weak defense for UCLA, that they're going to take some big shots, and this game is also at home, plus it's a good number at 6.5. So I think they cover by a score.
Okay.
This is a weird thing that you're trying to invent a rule.
I just know that throughout the duration of this show, given picks,
that's never happened. What has that ever happened?
I've received a rash of scolding before for trying to change FC estimates, for trying to change betting picks.
Changing FC estimates is different, though.
Oh,
you can't. No. No. There's never been an established issue with changing a betting pick mid-show. It's the first time it's ever happened.
You are using legalese and non-precedent. I don't like it.
It's more than kosher.
It feels insidious. It is what it is, though. I like the Nebraska line. My last pick, Tulane given 14.5 versus Charlotte. I am sick and tired of sitting on this show and not pitching against Charlotte. I'm sick of going through the scoreboard every Saturday. Me and Joe watching the games. We got the TV and we got Young Azumo, and I'm seeing what else is going on my phone with the scoreboard. I see Charlotte getting blown the hell out. The Charlotte 49ers are not a good team. Tulane is a good team. Tulane is awesome against the spread. 6-2. I am tired of being on the wrong side of history of making money. And that's what this is. This is just another weekend where I would have an opportunity to be stewing at 10 o'clock at night, looking at Charlotte getting blown the hell out and looking at Tulane just smoking a team. It all makes too much sense. It probably won't hit because it makes too much sense. But God, I can't keep on sitting here and doing the same thing. It's the definition of insanity. I've been tracking it all year. I'm sick of it. I'm going against Charlotte.
Biff is going to use that as bulletin board material. You're the only one who's publicly
here's a bulletin board material.
Show.
Biff, I love to dress like a slob, but you're a leader of men. Fix it.
All right, let's move on over to NFL. I had a bad week, but so did Sean, which makes me feel better about myself. We're still up at 75%, 18-6 on the year, 1-2 last week. Sean goes 1-2 as well. 11, 12-1 for a fantastic 46%. I actually think that raised your average.
Go screw. It didn't raise my Avi. It dropped it. I was at 50%. And now I suck. Jamie Williams, keep asking me for parlay strategies. I don't know.
Yeah, Sean's not the guy to ask for. Also, don't bet parlays. Somebody, actually, never mind. Don't bet parlays. Jamie, don't do it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, God, sorry about this story, Jamie. I'm sick of losing on this show with the NFL bets.
If you put $100 down and parlayed all 6 of these picks, you'd lose $100. If you did it with 3 of these picks, you would lose $100. But if you took mine, Jamie, you might be making some money. Took these teams' money line. My first one being the Bills -6 versus the Miami Dolphins. I know that Tua is back. I know that maybe there's a little bit of hype and some buzz that maybe they could be good. They looked much more competitive against the Cardinals. They still lost that football game. The Bills right now, I think, are in just such a high trajectory that they're starting to hit their stride offensively. As soon as Amari Cooper was inserted into the lineup, it really does feel like this Bills team is going to hit this midseason flow where they start kicking the crap out of teams that are off their footing. Miami's not the team that wants to be stepping into the situation. So give me Bills -6.
Love betting on the Bills this year. Love betting against Miami this year. These two teams are weird at times, but it's in Buffalo, so I think Bills get the edge. That's a fine bet, Joseph. My first bet here, mentioned it on the last show. The Texans getting 2 points versus the New York Jets. I know Stephon Diggs went down with an ACL injury. That's really tough. It's not great. He's a very good wide receiver and an asset to that offense. But we were talking about it preseason. It's not like they're without talent to step in and be a good third wide receiver in John Mechie, who can do that. I don't think they would lose that much of a step. The Jets are a tragedy. They're an abject tragedy on offense. Their defense that was lauded all year last year for being competitive and gritty and keeping them alive in the season is not doing that. They're not a good football team. The Texans have playoff aspirations. They need to run away with the AFC South because as bad as the Colts have been, they're still 4-4. They need the win. They're going to get the win. And I can't believe they're underdogs. Take it +2. Take it money line. It's a great team versus an awful team.
Yeah, they shouldn't be a dog, but at the same time, it feels like Aaron Rodgers is like Dabo Swinney. Anytime that man has a chance to grasp onto the tiniest bit of narrative to yell at his opposition, he takes it. It feels like this could just randomly go in their favor. He's also like a Thursday night football merchant at times, and especially this season, the only good game that they played was against New England on Thursday Night Football. Who knows what goes into that one? Falcons -3 versus the Cowboys is my next one. I love betting on the Atlanta
good
Falcons.
behavior this last couple weeks.
You shut your mouth.
Oh,
the Falcons played a great game against the Buccaneers.
No, they didn't.
The Falcons have been playing great football, and the Cowboys are the complete opposite. They are a mess. Now, I know one thing that could benefit the Cowboys is that the Falcons' pass rush has been a bit non-existent. But again, I think that this Falcons team, they're starting to show that they are that clear favorite in the NFC South. Them beating the Buccaneers is obviously a big boost for that. I don't trust the Cowboys. The Cowboys are dog-ass. They're terrible. I'm out on them. Jerry Jones, you stink. Anytime that you face a good football team, you falter. So give me the Falcons to cover.
Kirktober's over, brother. They're playing in November now. It's Dakvember. So this is
not a thing.
This is when it's going to go off, and Atlanta's going to go off the rails. If that's how that's felt all year with me doing the Notre Dame thing, then maybe we'll tone it down.
Mine was totally candid. Like, I like the pick. You're just doing.
They haven't been playing well. They should have lost to the Bucs. Kyle Pitts dropped a touchdown in front of the goal line like an amateur. Okay, all right. Good God, you're hot on NFL. Stay hot. Let that be one of the ones that you hit.
I'm gonna go 2-1. That's gonna be the one I miss. Go ahead. Pick your
game. We need to go out to the hallway and have a friendly.
No. Your team's going to win the division. You'll lose one game. God forbid.
Commanders giving 4 versus the New York Giants. Saw a lot, even past the Hail Mary. You could say that the Commanders should have lost to the Chicago Bears. That's a fair statement, but they didn't. It's a new era, and it's a tired narrative to keep on saying it's a new, fresh era in Washington, but it's true. It's tangible. You can feel it. This isn't a Commanders team that is dying to lose to the New York Giants in a pivotal game, which they did all year last year. That's what they did the year before. They love losing to the Giants when they have any chance of keeping playoff hopes alive. The Giants cut them down at the knees, and they sink them. But this year is different. They're trying to take command of the division. My only worry is that they're kind of overlooking the Giants and having their eyes set on Philly, because Philly just had a big win against Cincinnati. But Commanders given 4. I like it. I think they beat the Giants by 10.
Why did you just burp mid-sentence?
That'll be in the lifestyle section. There's some residual from some New Jersey food.
I was going to take this bet, so I'm a little upset that you stole this one from me. I forgot. I had my picks, and I played. What I usually do
the first time they played
in the middle of the week. I've been betting against the Giants, and it's been making me a ton of money because they suck. My team's horrible. They're bad. They're pathetic. And if they're bad and pathetic, I might as well make myself happy by making myself some money. But I always place my bets in the middle of the week, and I forgot to write my picks down, despite having said bets placed. So I'm upset that you stole this one from me.
I've been live betting against Atlanta in just about every single game.
That's dumb.
Because they're up. They're always up.
You're just trying to put yourself in a bad mood.
They're always up, and then it's insane odds. And then it's much better than the boosted -3. You could get the other team at plus money at like plus 600 and watch them falcon it up.
That is like getting pissed off that you've been sitting in traffic, and because you're so pissed off, it's like, I'm going to ram this pothole because I'm just so upset.
Oh, yeah.
That's like you're just trying to work yourself up further because I hate that. I hate that strategy. Just don't bet on your team. Don't live bet them. Don't touch them. Only if they're bad. That's all you need to be doing. Last pick that I have here, Browns plus 1.5 versus the Chargers. Now, I know the Chargers have shown signs of competence this year, but inconsistent competence. I think with that front seven for the Browns, that they can slow down the rushing attack for the Chargers that is carrying them. But more importantly, can't explain it. Jameis hype, man. The Jameis juice. Oh, man, I don't like that.
Go ahead.
All right, the Jameis juice.
We might have a shirt going here.
The Jameis juice that is now here after the Ravens win. It was not a flash in the pan. They're rallying around my guy. They're going to eat that dub. Give me 1.5.
Hearing a casual say it is a little more ironic than when Jameis said it. This is just who's crazier, Jameis Winston or Harbaugh? I guess maybe Jameis takes the edge. I like it. I probably won't bet on it though. My final pick: Rams giving 1 versus the Seattle Seahawks. The NFC West is a total mess. It's going to be an absolute dogfight till the end. I think Arizona ends up pulling out some wins and takes some away from the actual contenders in this division. The Rams and Seattle are always super gritty, but you and I were on a train last time that the Rams were playing, and we got to see Cooper Kupp healthy, and we got to see Puka Nacua healthy, and we got to see Kyron Williams not having to tote the thing and be the main source of offense. And Matt Stafford looked very comfortable in the pocket against a very good Minnesota Vikings team. And the Seattle Seahawks, while they have a very dynamic rushing attack with Kenneth Walker, and DK Metcalf is probably going to have a big touchdown in this game for 80 yards, which is what he always does against the Rams. The Rams are a better team. The Rams got healthy at the right time. The Rams got a massive win when they needed it, and they kept themselves afloat during all the injury mess. They're going to start trending upwards, and it starts with a massive divisional win against Seattle. I love that it's basically a pick 'em. Matt Stafford better than Geno. Rams offense better than Seattle's offense. Rams defense better than Seattle's defense.
So I'm expecting that you're now going to complain about Chinese food in New Jersey. Why? It's a Wednesday. Why eating a big order of Chinese food on a Wednesday? Eat something normal, please. Well, I seriously, I don't know what direction you were going with this, and you didn't tell me ahead of time. The Chinese food order is a Saturday late afternoon order that you can eat a big dinner and you skipped breakfast and lunch potentially. It's maybe a Saturday night order, but a Tuesday night order and you're belching mid-show because you ate something. What is your qualm that you have to complain about?
I thought.
Did you go back to the same place?
No, new spot. I'm keep on trying new spots.
Which spot you go to?
I don't. Just another, vaguely named Chinese place. I think.
Was it the one near the ShopRite?
Let me see. But this one,
did you drive to it?
No. This one had.
So it was in walking distance.
I don't know where it was, man. It's in the area. It was in the general vicinity for a nice gentleman on a bike to drop it off.
Hold on. Oh, so you Uber?
Yes.
Hold on for a second though. Here. So you didn't walk there. Okay. Well, that kind of pushes against what I was going to say, but I was going to bring up the fact that we live in a very gridded area of Hoboken where everything runs in horizontal and vertical lines. So usually when you quickly pull up a map, you can say, hey, it's on this corner or this street. Not everything's like DC.
DC is a mess. But here's the thing. When we were moving in, I was pitched the idea that New Jersey had really good Chinese food. And I was excited to believe it. I know that the big thing about Chinese food in New York is solid. I know that there's a lot of good restaurants there, but Joe told me there's some really good Chinese food in New Jersey. And I'm coming from Northern Virginia, which is kind of devoid of every main culture. The Mexican food's okay. The African food's pretty good. But for the most part, it's pretty devoid of anything you can, rest your laurels on. That was a good pizza. And you
it was like eating like
it was
Olive Garden bread with cheese on top of it.
You're a crazy person. It is what it is. Maybe you don't like the white pizzas. That's fine.
I love white pizza. That was not good white pizza.
You're a crazy person. But since being up here, I think I've tried that is fighting words. We will have a discussion afterwards.
I'd rather order Domino's.
Yeah, I'm sure you would rather order Domino's and wash it down with 2 bags of Sour Patch Kids and a Twix.
All right,
I know everyone would like the 12-year-old.
All right.
We don't have candy for the trick-or-treaters anymore. We just don't.
There's no trick-or-treaters. If anybody knocks on the door tomorrow at 7 o'clock while we're doing a show, I hope it's when we're reading a question from Rack or Chester. I hope the parents learn really quickly to not walk their kids past this door.
I could hear you from the elevator today. So that makes me know.
Me that.
But this today was definitely, I guess there wasn't a lot of noise. So every word was being able to carry throughout.
Well, the elevator's right there.
Yeah, I got you.
The wall is right there.
It's still another 20, 30 yards. Regardless.
Well, the wall is right there.
Yeah, I know the wall's right there. But I'm going to need you to walk back the statement that New Jersey has good Chinese food.
No, I will not do that because
we're over 4 right now.
No. I have determined that Hoboken does not, and I did some digging on r/Hoboken, which is a cesspool.
You got to get
it is a cesspool. It is just people bitching about parking tickets and the e-bike drivers. That's it. And a lot of the e-bike driver complaints are people hiding behind the fact that the anonymity of their presence on Reddit, that nobody knows who they are.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's a little racially charged, and those people need to relax. Some insanely inappropriate comments that are made by people. Tell us what you're really complaining about, assholes. That is a cesspool. However, I have dug through a couple of threads about Chinese food, and the general consensus is like, yeah, there's not really very many good options. It's not like New York City. It's not like the surrounding area of New Jersey. The better places that you need to go that I've determined, because you're right. I went to that. We went to that one spot that was.
It had all the makings. It was green flag after green flag.
Yeah, and the first time I had it was good because it was better than the crap I was having when I was living in Los Angeles.
Crazy.
But
well, I guess that's San Francisco.
There was San Francisco does, but a lot of poorly unseasoned crap that I was eating when I was in Los Angeles, which was really disappointing for Chinese food. But after I had it a couple times, completely not good. I tried a second spot, not good. You got to go in these like suburban areas that have like these strip malls that have these tiny tucked away Chinese spots. Those are the best ones that you got to find.
I feel like that is like every Chinese food spot around here matches those green flags, but everyone's got their hometown Chinese food spot that they like and they'll vouch for. Chef Wong's, Alexandria. I'll always love them. I'll always order when I'm back in town.
Mine's Panda Express.
I think no, but you were saying that in your hometown there was a very good one that wasn't too far away.
There were two very, very good ones.
That is not indicative of all of New Jersey to be represented for having good Chinese food. And I think that I was duped, and I would like at least semi-formal apology.
No, you can go screw.
I was almost late to work today, leaving the building, because I didn't know if I could make the walk to the path without an incident.
What do you mean?
I mean,
you were going to shit your pants because of it?
I mean, I was I had to be a little extended in the restroom this morning.
How many days in a row did you eat Chinese food?
One. Last night.
Oh, I thought this was tonight that you ordered it.
No. Last night I ordered it. It was fine. It was. I thought I had a spot, but the mapo tofu was so oily. I think it torqued me up pretty bad.
That's not my fault.
But it is kind of your fault because I keep on looking for new.
Like
no, I can't. I wasn't in dark pants today. There was no getting out of that.
You'll really set the tone in the office.
I was doing suicides from the elevator to the exit today, thinking, do I have time? I might have to call an Uber to the station because I have to run upstairs due to emergency.
That's on you. That's 1,000%.
No, I was pitched a false sale of goods.
Nope, absolutely not. All right, we're going to be back on Thursday. So we're doing the mailbag on Thursdays. If you still haven't sent us in a mailbag voicemail, a hackbag voicemail, 201-834-4308. We're going to be doing them 7 o'clock on Thursdays. No longer going to be during the lunch hour on Fridays. Sean's a big boy. He's got a job now, so we're unable to do that on Fridays. I'm going to be going golfing during that hour now in the future, which is going to be so wonderful. I have a different unemployed friend, so that now I can play golfing with him. But again, get us your hackbag questions either on Twitter. We'll do a call out tomorrow morning, and also send into the phone line 201-834-4308. At Hack City Pod on Twitter, at Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio. Leave us a 5-star review on audio, and we'll talk to you later.